take minutes.
That's it.
There she is.
Sorry.
No problem. We'll call the meeting to order. Has everyone had an opportunity to read the minutes from the last meeting? Any questions or observations or objections or adjustments that need to be made? Looks like they're all in order.
Oh, come on, thanks.
That's awesome. Where's that copy? It's an extra copy of those.
Shall I entertain
That's
a motion?
I'll make a
to
motion to approve.
approve? I need a second.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor say yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
All opposed say no. Motion carried. Y'all wanna get right into committees? I guess we shall. Ms. Edward, you're up. You wanna tell us what's going on with audit?
We do not have a scheduled meeting at this time. We're waiting some for numbers that I will be getting from Amy here in the next week or so to hopefully schedule a meeting for audit.
Good enough. David Thompson not here, so we'll move on. I understand they had a real productive meeting last night.
We did, indeed. It was,
Are you vice?
No.
But you can tell,
I'm
me-
secretary.
you can report and tell us that things went well.
I think went well.
Landon, finance.
Emergency services first.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
We're gonna meet tomorrow. I did not get y'all a copy. I have a proposed resolution to change the way they are doing write-offs. Currently, write-offs are, I'm reading the old one. The charges for EMS transport billing may be waived based upon financial hardship as determined by the guidelines established by Trousdale County EMS with the approval of the director and or county mayor. I am proposing that we change that to, with approval from the director and the mayor and the EMS committee, so that there is more oversight in write-offs. So we'll have that resolution at the committee tomorrow, and then we'll see where it goes from there.
I think there needs to be oversight on that.
I've got some explanations of write-offs from last year, yesterday, and it's just lots of questions.
So how's it looking on F out there right now?
I don't know anything officially other than I don't think they're fully staffed anymore.
I've had, I've had two exit interviews. Both were leaving for reasons not related to what's going on up there. One of the paramedics was going back to East Tennessee to be closer to home. And one EMT, has a special needs child and he has better care in Lebanon where he can work, so he's coming to Lima. I think they've hired one paramedic.
They were supposed to hire one, he told us that they had a full staff at the last EMS meeting, but I don't think all of those actually came.
Big personnel, they said they were down 3.
But it's your
Is that
report.
right?
We'll talk more on that.
Yes, there'll be more to come from this after the meeting tomorrow.
There has been, some discussion about the calling the ambulance, but I'm sure they'll take it up.
We can talk about the ambulance or the brush truck.
That's later on the agenda.
Have you got it? Oh, okay,
Yeah, but this committee needs to, there are two options and we need to gather as much wisdom as we can on what to do. Anything else, Leslie?
Nope.
Linda?
So finance committee, we of course met in our, and I gave that report at the last, at the January commission. We can go back over any of those pieces we need to, but at this point we have not had a meeting until our upcoming 21st, I believe is that date. 20th is President's Day, so it's on that Tuesday instead of Monday as it would follow. So right now that's kind of where we sit. Finances at this point, of course, we're approaching a time where we need to start thinking about that, and I think I see it on the agenda as well, the budget season, which is approaching us. It seems to come on fast, and all those pieces do. I know we've talked about some pieces, but they're not ready to hit the table at this point, that, different conversations in terms of, people asking, I know, Sheriff Russell has asked for, maybe you're gonna ask for some additional employees and things of that nature that are gonna be coming up in that budget, starting to get our eyes on those pieces. We had a conversation with Wesley Robeson in December, about revenue streams and opportunities there. I think there's some of those that we're gonna have to look into very soon. So we'll have to start, instead of pushing that ball down the road, we're gonna have to take some stands and move in some directions.
Anything else?
That's it for finance.
Okay.
Nothing new, nothing called. I guess y'all talked about, like you said, Ray Russell's additional people. The big thing, obviously, with us last Tuesday, to check for things. But no meetings are called. I'll go with Sheriff Russell whenever he wants to have a meeting. We'll usually have his meetings.
Was the piece for the jail last week, was that filmed in any way or recorded?
I think it was. But it was a really good discussion, and it lasted about 3 hours. And I think a lot was accomplished as to where we're headed. And I think the people from law enforcement, and I talked to Sheriff Russell today, understand that we're gonna have to approach this from the standpoint of what we can afford rather than what we'd like to have. I think that was a general understanding, so we kind of know where we're coming from there. So I think we gave the entire group gave the architect a pretty strong mandate on what to bring back to us. And so he's gonna come back with some preliminary drawings and go from there. So
Options.
the next thing will be for him to come back. The next thing will be for him to come back and say, this is what we can do, this is what it would cost. And what we run into in watching this thing for the last year is that even if we had settled on a $25 million plan, it would probably cost 35 because the prices are just continue to escalate, plus your interest.
That's,
So to be even affordable, you may have to start down in that 13, 15 range and go from there. And then of course, I've come up with a creative strategy for funding it. It's gonna be pretty challenging, but I think it can be pretty exciting too. I keep saying there are enough smart people in this county to figure this thing out.
Can I just make a comment?
Sure.
After that meeting, I went and looked at the jail budget as it is, and it's like, between the jail and the workhouse, it's like 1.5 roughly.
Mhm.
And so if we are gonna triple that, or triple the occupancy, won't the operating budget then be doubled or tripled? So aren't we then gonna have to come up with the money to operate it as well?
And that's the thing, if you spend 25 or 30 million, your amortization is gonna be so strong, it's gonna put pressure on everything.
Right.
Number of people you hire, the services you continue to provide this county is gonna be a tremendous pressure, so. Anyway, we've got things moving up. It was a really good discussion.
It was good, but I've got something to add to the operating costs. With more inmates, money being made with the commissary phones, the board bill, state inmates.
And that's $41 a day, right?
That's what we're getting now. If we go up to 50, I think Sheriff Russell's gonna renegotiate the price.
I asked Sheriff Russell for the number of what it costs per day to house an inmate, and I've not gotten that back to you.
That'd be American.
Well, I had a
He told
figure,
me at the meeting that he had it.
I had a figure, I didn't even
get it.
present that day.
He does, but I think that.
We kind of roughed out a pretty rough figure, and it was pretty high. I didn't even bring it out because it was so high. But, and you just brought something up, that this is a learning experience for me too. And I kind of threw that $41 figure around. And 10 years ago, the state was saying it was like $60, 10 years ago. And
It's
then
a cost.
cost. Then the state stopped crunching those figures because, but when I talked to Mr. Hart, and he reminded me of when you throw in the commissary phone bills, there's a lot more money that comes in to offset that So I think it's around $80 now, I think, what Jim Hart's.
Right, it was, well, we started at 65, and I think we ended up at around 80, so, yeah.
But I didn't take into account commissary.
The commissary, it's such big money, I mean, it's probably, what were those notes I passed out, was it?
Well, it's on our budget deal, every time we get that budget, it shows you how much money the phone's brought in there.
And the phone bill, it's significant.
Paytel, and the commissary, it's like 300 grand a year, gotta be pushing easy,
It's a lot of money.
it's a lot.
And see, I don't know anything,
I think we're at
I don't know
109
anything
for a
about
quarter.
that.
Well, like commissaries, like, you know, they buy food and we sell them food and they have phones that they pay for that we get. So those figures need to be,
Not enough to cut off millions of dollars. I'll be the first to say that, but it does help. But like I said, not to cut millions of dollars off.
So how do we stand on state inmates, because they've been telling us don't count on state inmates.
We've got 17, and like I said in that meeting, the state of Tennessee is not building any prisons. They're not putting any brick and mortar together at all. They're doing private prisons. So these guys are staying in jails, county jails. It's cheaper for the state of Tennessee to put somebody in a county jail than to build a prison.
Yeah, but
But
they've
is that-
been saying the last 2 years, oh, don't count on state inmates anymore. We've got
But if
enough-
it's cheaper for the state to give them to us, then how are we making money on it?
if there's anything over it,
That's where we're at.
We're not making any money on it. It's costing us to house state inmates.
anything over the taxpayers.
So then why are we doing it?
To offset some of the money,
But if it's costing us,
but we're offsetting some of the money.
It's almost a catch.
It's crazy the way it works.
that makes no sense to me.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
We take,
It's
several
crazy.
years ago, people, the jails, cause the state inmates was paying for it, but I won't say that.
Well, no, they're not gonna pay for nothing.
Was a catch
$15
22.
$15
It
million.
is a catch 22.
It's a
They're
catch
not gonna pay for
22
any $15 million jail.
because the state recognizes that the dollars don't add up to build our own brick and mortar, but yet they dictate to the counties, well, if you don't build this jail, we'll be certified.
Mm-hmm.
What is
It's
it?
a catch 22.
What happens if we get decertified? What does that mean?
Exposure to legal exposure.
That, and if it goes to as far as they'll tell us to move everybody out.
Everybody. Even more.
And then we could go as far as Memphis to pick up somebody to go to jail session. Not saying that that's gonna happen because of Wilson County's brand new jail and Sumner County's brand new jail, but we could go as far as Memphis to pick somebody up for suspended driver's license.
Hey, here's something else.
I'm just trying to.
I know,
I
no,
have
I'm just
no
saying,
idea. I'm just asking.
I don't see
questions.
that happening because, like I said, Wilson's got a brand new jail, Sumner's got a brand new jail.
I know Sumner built all that new jail, and they couldn't even have enough staff, they'd have to get deputies off the road to come in and be jailers. I don't know
Same
if they
thing with
got
Wilson
strength.
County. Same thing with Wilson County, they can't open their doors.
Yes, I'm
So
saying.
how are we gonna do it?
Another thing that we're facing in the
Goes
sheriff,
around and around.
yeah. Another thing we're facing the sheriff is pointed out to me, and you're fully aware of this, is when we go out to pick up a bad dude, for lack of a better word, then we have to send him somewhere else, but they've now become a state prisoner under our watchful eyes. Whenever we move one of them back up for a court hearing, it takes all kind of overtime, 2 officers all day,
It costs me about $2,200 a day.
$200, which means,
Why, I mean, if we go to new jail, we can hold them here, is what you're saying?
you know, we need more money from Court City.
We can hold it. We can hold this guy.
And that
We've
is,
got 6 of them right now.
that is, see, it's such a
You're
cost
6
to us
inmates
that Court
per
City
prison.
is passing
Is that
on.
what you're saying?
Prisons
Because
are
we're
full
holding their
force
guy.
because we don't have nowhere to
Well, actually, they're no
Because they're
longer
bad
the guy,
guys,
but we got the
murders.
guy.
All murders. 6 of them. I got 21 on the 21st. I've got another 6 coming up. With Brody Cancer.
See, all of a sudden, the county, because they're state prisoners, are
Crazy.
responsible for doing what's necessary to haul them back and forth.
And here's another thing, those county jails like Wilson County and all that, I don't know how Sheriff Russell's getting away with it, they could be charging us with houses. But they don't.
Because you have,
So you're telling me that there are 6 of our prisoners that are being housed at Core Civic right now,
No, River Bend,
at Riverbend, okay?
Wilson County.
So once they go through the legal process, they became wards of the state,
Mhm.
and then the state has no.
That's what I'm trying to,
See, those murders were committed at Trousdale Turner. Trousdale Turner's in Trousdale County. Trousdale County carries the charge. We can't house them.
We can't house them because we're full?
you can't house them, you cannot house them because of their classification.
We don't have any classification, you know.
Well, I'm just saying from the prison
Right, we
standpoint,
know about classification side of it. We've got no classification.
they don't
That's
have
all-
classification
all
because they don't have the room to segregate them or put them in a maximum security cell, because we don't have that.
What have y'all got, one holding cell down there?
Two holding cells and another two cells that they say are single cells, but there's no water.
There's
They're
no,
just a
yeah,
drunk tank.
it's a
They're called
drunk tank.
So we could go back to Core Civic and say, look, 300,000 is nice, and it's not covering the cost of what you're.
You're draining our emergency services.
But those aren't Core Civic. Those aren't Core Civic inmates.
No.
They're ours now, yeah.
Yeah,
But-
but the reason we got the charges, cause they was here,
Right.
They were.
cause they came up
The
there.
crimes were committed there.
Yeah,
They were committed there.
But they are still,
yeah, Trouser County, once they commit the crime, man.
But aren't they still serving sentences at Core Civic or at Trousdale Turner?
yes,
Three of
they
them
are.
aren't. Three of them are.
So 3 of them is done to flatten their time out there, and now they stay.
We're getting ready to get 2 of them in June that were in there for big assault charges and all. They'll be done with the state. Trousdale County has charges on them, so they'll be coming to us. But then they won't come to us. They'll go to Wilson County.
We can't hold them.
Can't help it. Like I said, Ray's lucky that
Well,
Wilson County hasn't been.
he's probably housed a few of some of them too, just helped them out over the years, they needed somewhere to put it.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I'm sure. And that's where
Did
that's
you-
payback.
he has.
Did you have judges and lawyers and all at that meeting?
Oh, yeah.
Mhm.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they were all there.
DAs.
It was good. Oh, yeah, it was good.
They were very vocal too.
He
Okay.
was.
They were all very.
Another thing that's on the horizon that Ray has talked about, and this is something I continually run into in the mayor's office, is there are a lot of great ideas out there. Putting legs to it, it's the hard part. And there's a sheriff in Dyer County that's running a program now where the state, I think they're paying them $41, they pay them an extra $20 per inmate to do this program, to where they find them jobs and pay them and start, they pay off their fees and employers will employ them. And then when they get out, they've got some money. And so I've asked the sheriff to, let's do a spring trip and get out there and see the sheriff and find out what's going on. Because the answer is not building bigger jails. You can't just keep
No.
building jails.
Not first it was.
Not anymore. Well, we're really not any jail anymore. Well, it's just a revolving door for all of them now.
That programming though also helps with their reentry back into.
Sure.
Sure. Yeah, it gives them a trade. I mean, you could even build up a trade school. Well, where's the main trade school?
Sheriff told me, Jerry Ford said he took a couple of them, would take some people and it's just a matter, you've got to vet them. Find out what you're dealing with. And I think he said it like 88% successful if they pick the right people.
Do they come back in the local jail, or you got another place they go to? I mean, like we could use our
kinda
own
like a
jail
work-
for.
A workhouse.
I
Oh,
know
yeah,
that.
no, that's what Sheriff Russell's looking around is to try to keep that building, but that building is in real bad shape.
But then you still going to hire somebody to still stay over there with them when they do come in at night. I mean, that's an expense.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's two. I mean, you could do that with two, you could do that with 2 people, one on night, one on the daytime. But even then you're charging those people to do those programs and to stay in there. It's not all just court costs and fines, it's charging a bed rental, really is what it comes down to. So there's ways to offsetting it, but unfortunately, there's no ways to offset millions of dollars.
Was anything discussed about using the justice center we got now, making it into, I mean,
The main plan that was talked about was putting it across the street on that lot and
Across the street on the wall.
on the corner.
Warehouse.
Yes, that vacant lot. I can say that out loud, right?
I know,
Just
that's
a meeting.
it's out.
Is that a meeting?
Yeah.
It's out there.
I tried to buy that lot, I wish I had it now.
It's among the options that we're looking at.
Right.
Love is bonding. Yeah, we tried to buy it.
Shane, you got anything else?
I don't
Very
know
good.
how that's
Those are
looking
good.
up though.
Will, what's up with your group?
Personnel met on February the 2nd, to look at maybe revising section 7H of the personnel policy. For use of local government vehicles and equipment, potentially add the language to include volunteer drivers, in emergency situations. There were several points of discussion that come up. Judge Beller stated that as it sits right now, and according to the county's insurance policy, that volunteer drivers would be covered under those rare circumstances, even as the policy sits. From what I understood also, it would be a relatively easy fix to add volunteers to that policy so that it's in writing. Items of discussion come up about whether or not the volunteer fire department and the rescue squad were emergency traffic trained to be able to drive an ambulance. It did not require, from what I understood, it would not require an additional CDL license or anything of that nature. There were so many additional questions that came up that the motion was made to postpone the item until the next scheduled meeting, until we can find out whether or not the volunteer individuals would have to be trained separately, what those costs would be. Yes, ma'am.
Are these volunteers that rescue and fire volunteers already?
Yes.
So in my EMS meeting, both, what's the rest of you guys' name now? Daniel Harris, and Jay gave me training reports that they all have been through with Vanessa Kay.
Vanessa Kay. I didn't
Yes,
think of
they
that.
have all done that, and they do that yearly.
Right.
That was
we were talking about, that was a
discussion.
big part.
That was, they all have to do that yearly.
Perfect.
I just don't quite understand. Volunteers are gonna drive ambulances?
That's the next part of that question. I'm hoping to find out either through emergency services meeting or inquiries of my own, how often of an occurrence it is that they have to bring in a volunteer to drive the ambulance.
Like, come and go with us.
Right, if it's once every 6 months, then I don't think that justifies changing our policy. If it's happening multiple times a week, then we might want to look at adjusting the policy.
I will drive an ambulance, I really don't.
Why? Don't we have employees to drive and drivers to drive ambulances? Why do we need a volunteer? Why?
I completely agree with you, but under situations, short staffing situations, if we were to have a natural disaster event right now, I would be of the opinion that we should have had foresight to prepare. And if that means that we add volunteers to that policy, I would strongly suggest that there's 6 bullets on that section of policy. There needs to be a 7th that basically says volunteers should only be utilized as secondary hours.
And I think that, in talking with Sumner County, I think that's what they basically told that baby, that under their policy, if it is a dire emergency, you can pull somebody in. What got this ball rolling was we had a volunteer that spent an inordinate amount of time up at EMS, and he was constantly going out on calls. And he was a volunteer, he was not an employee. He was just hopping in ambulances, and that's why Matt was kind of called in to let's talk about this, because this was not an employee, he was just a rescue dog. And I think that's been interesting.
It's been addressed.
It sounds like the bullet could be a good idea for, especially for those emergency cases, but it sounds like we also need to define what an emergency case is inside that bullet. We need to well define that piece, because then it can be gray water.
And then identify exactly what a volunteer is. There's a place in policy already, close to the beginning, I get to use that page, that defines volunteers, and volunteer firemen, or emergency service personnel. And that needs to be attached inside of this policy, defining what a volunteer is also.
Gives a true definition of what piece of it. Yeah, we gotta be clear.
Anything else, Will?
There was other discussion, you brought up exit interviews as far as looking at the whys people leave. Not everybody leaves for money. Some people leave for other reasons, work related or not, but the exit interviews being more in that picture to define why we keep. That was the other thing.
Did we discuss that too?
Sir?
Did I tell you what one guy told me, one gentleman told me?
Yes, the ones that you had, yes, sir.
We just start posting enough information out there, let people know the job for them. We're working on that. We're going on that.
More broadcasting of it. You know, I shared this, I think I shared it with y'all as well, where is I'm trying to think now, which of these committees would actually be looking at insurance? Is that personnel?
Personnel insurance.
Personnel and insurance. That's what I was thinking exactly. So, you know, just asking some individuals around, when I've had the opportunity lately, we have an individual that lives here in the county, works in Gallatin, their EMS department, and the only reason I know this, we had a little incident at school with afternoon ball player got her injured. So, you know, you have to call, make some things going that way. Well, the first guy shows up, he's trying to go talk to him, like, man, well, how's it going to work here? He's like, well, I actually don't work here. I just live in the county, and it's one of my off days, so I'm just answering the call, and try to help out when I can. Like, well, I appreciate that. Well, after everything got settled and eased in, we got those pieces, I asked him, I was like, so tell me, why do you drive to Sumner County to work and not here? We tried to raise prices. We were told, hey, your dollars need to increase. We made that move, roughly $2 per hour. And he said, listen, it's really not your dollars, it's your benefits package. Your insurance is too high here. I can't come to work here for your insurance. I wonder how many more people are in that same boat. But it's really, that's one of the drawbacks to them. It's not just the salary itself, it's the amount of salary that they gotta lose off that benefits package.
That's what the interview with the paramedic, what he told me. He said, the pay is great. And he said, PRN, you know, people will be glad to come in. But he said, your benefits package doesn't compare. So I was wondering, can you have a separate benefits package for like EMS and the rest of the county?
I don't know, that's hurt our department pretty good too.
I just, myself, I wonder if there's not a way to, we're a small county. You know, a Sumner County co-ops together as one large piece. Is there a way we can look into co-oping in with one of those counties? Is that an option for us as a county? Can we get on somebody else's? Because the more enrollees that you have, the better
The larger your group.
that's correct. The more enrollees in that group you're gonna have, the better your price you're gonna get. So maybe there's an option for
They
us.
looked into.
Maybe
But
there's
the
an option we can
school
look
is
at.
on like the state of Tennessee. Is the county can't do that?
I don't know how, you know, the schools, you're talking a couple of hundred employees, or 120 employees. I don't know where the county's at exactly with that number, but you are correct, there is a, so should be an opportunity there to look into how those things are working.
Yeah.
Is there a way to co-op those, or maybe co-op with a Sumner or a Wilson hey, we're a small county, we really have a small number to bring to the table, but we're at least bringing some that may actually help them, and then we can
You know,
maybe something
you
we're
might
doing
could form a regional co-op and bring in all that,
yes, sir.
and change that.
Might be an option there for us to look at, really to benefit those benefits where we can get it to a place. I think that's really something, we were, Mr. Gregory and I were on insurance a while back before that changed, and that was something we had taught, but we had never found a way to get to that.
Yeah, we've discussed it for years, but who actually is going to put it together and try to, that's
Well, I think-
where
I think we gotta make those
That's where we
conversations.
stuck at, I
Yeah.
think.
I think we gotta reach out and make those
I
connections.
have a resource that would know.
That's,
I don't mind pursuing that for y'all, and I'll let you know what you tell me.
I think that's a bit of an opportunity for our county, that may be.
I mean,
a
all the
place.
employees you talk to said, we need our insurance to be cheaper. I mean, they more worried about that than they are the pay raise. I mean, I'm like, this is, they have that, this better for everybody.
Well, it puts more money in their
It
pocket.
puts more money in their pocket.
It's like a pay raise, it truly is, it offsets the cost for that employee. So it may be something that's two quick individuals there that, in a very short amount of time, that said, it's not your pay. It's your benefits back, your insurance costs. I can't come for that piece. Maybe there's an option. Something to look into.
Well, anything else? Mr. Gregory.
We had to have a meeting, we got one scheduled for Thursday night at 6, but, we're gonna try to get the food discussion, get an opening date, and see if he's got any applications in for lifeguards and managers or whatever, trying to get all that stuff together before May's slipping right here on us, we probably usually open the program Memorial Day. And I had talked to Cliff, you said you talked to Kenley and Horn anymore or whatever?
I'm gonna talk to him again tomorrow, but, the last meeting we had, which was a couple of weeks ago, they said that, once we get this playground equipment, this thing will move fast. Well, we'll get the equipment.
And the lights, he said that they turned, he said they turned them on.
When they were playing with them, they did.
Right, they're bright. I mean, I'm excited about the lights and the new playground. I mean, it's a lot happening there when you're laying down.
And the new cameras.
That's gonna be beneficial.
When was that gonna start getting installed, or is he bought or?
I'd say that would go quickly too.
I don't know if he's moved any further with that, he'll present to us Thursday night on that one.
I came in Sunday night, had some work to do here, and I met the gentleman that
Works down there.
guards the park for 10 o'clock, he was coming in. And, so the county's doing it, I think.
Yeah.
But I would love to investigate some way to put a gate down there, maybe work something out in the holders or something, 10 o'clock. Cause we're putting all that new, nice playground equipment, they should be protected. And I'm not sure the camera will feed to the sheriff's office.
No idea, we're still trying to flip the switch over from this building.
How they going?
Maybe they- I think it's in front of, it's in front of the
But if y'all know of anybody that's interested in a lifeguard or manager, we need to be getting over the cliff, because we need, I hate to not get enough help not open the podium. I mean, we've run into that,
And not only that, Cliff has brought it to our attention this last year went not well. Just make it an understatement. Behavior, opportunities, we know some pieces in those cases, but we need to try to find a way, and that's something we're going to put in front of us here in this conversation. We need a individual, when that thing ran well for a long time, you had individuals that were vested in it, they stayed with it for lengthy periods of time. It seems to be harder and harder to find those individuals today, so it may end up costing us a little bit more, but you gotta realize that position is truly a manager position. So it's hard to get a manager that's willing to do something for $12. I'm just gonna be straight up with you now. You're not gonna find a manager for $12 an hour to go down there and manage people.
It's a
Most
lot of
likely gonna be
pieces to
children
it.
and dealing with those pieces. So that may come to our attention, honestly, y'all. It may be something that we have to look into if we want it to be a successful piece, if we're gonna put money into it and it be a successful piece, it may cost us something.
Well, you really need an adult.
Oh, yeah, there's no doubt about that, but
And I mean,
finding one and getting
well,
them,
I mean,
a different story.
The pay is a big thing, I can say that, cause.
He did say that he got somebody during the day down there, overseeing the park, about like the guy at night, that helped do it, or
He's mentioned that.
Yeah, he mentioned that.
He thinks he's got an individual, an employee of his.
Yeah, that was
Already be on.
manage it or.
But asking an employee to manage in those positions becomes,
But we do
there's a
have
lot
a
more to
meeting
managing.
Thursday night at
Yes.
6, so maybe we can get some stuff worked out.
That's everything.
What's the approach? You said a gate.
Mhm.
How should we approach it? We've got a meeting coming up Thursday night. Might be a place to start thinking about that. Do you
I
have a
think probably
suggestion?
talk to Stanley Older first. I had a discussion with somebody today about the fact that after 10 o'clock, they don't have no traffic. And if you're open back by 6, even if you had someone coming in, you could have a sign there where to call and they could give you a code to the gate. You have a tractor trailer coming in,
He starts about 5 o'clock.
so you get them to make it 5.
I mean, you could give Stanley the code.
Hmm.
He could have to go to the gate.
Well, yeah, but you're mentioning there may be some, like you say, truck drivers that are in there now. There's different pieces that do.
O'clock in the morning, drop off the jail.
And you might have to cut off the back way over there at the cleaners.
Mhm.
But the key to having a safe parking, to find people can't get in there.
And protecting the investment.
Yeah, you might have a renegade or two, but we're putting a million two into a small area.
So a whole lot bigger parts that close at
10 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
Shut the
That
gates.
is a county road,
Okay.
maintained by the county. Probably on both sides owned by Stanley. He might be open to it, huh?
It's worth the approach. That's what I was wondering. If you-
Who would be willing, I mean, would you willing to talk to them about it, or somebody in the parks?
Sure,
Yeah.
I would open it.
That way we get a start.
If you might even like it, keep people out of there.
You might. You never know.
I mean, I would.
But like I said, we're gonna have a lot of money invested in there on some nice stuff, and it
And
does
I mean,
need to be.
and there's gonna be more invested going forward. Anything else, Mr. Reader?
That's all I got.
Okay, what do we got under resolutions to be reviewed? Who wants to talk about the first one? Did everyone understand the other night what this was really all about?
I don't think so.
I didn't read, that's right, I voted to continue, or whatever. I didn't know that happened.
Well, I don't mind offering some explanation, Beverly, unless you want to. You want, it's out here next to the woods, you want to talk about it?
It is in my neck of the woods. A lot of the people in my area, of course, do not want it there. It's not that we're opposed to it, but it is going to change our lifestyle because it's going to be very visible. We're going to hear it. It's going to be very lit up. And I know the ones that are actually right there, that it is right on top of their brand new homes, they are not happy about it at all.
Where exactly is they talking about it at?
Right behind Tracy Belcher's,
Okay, where they got.
all up there on the Bratton farm where it comes
Okay.
back, so it's gonna be at the top of that hill. And I mean, they tell us that they can do downlight into it because I went to the meeting with the mayor and Leslie and Mr. Beller and all of them. But it's gonna be just as big as Columbia Gulf. So by this, we are not saying that we are not against it. This is for them to look at their TVA site, at the other site, at the alternate site.
They listed sites,
Right.
options that they were willing to go to. And we're suggesting as a county, we would prefer them to go to site C versus site A. Site A being the Bratton Farm, site C being TVA.
So they did list that site.
Yes.
Did.
They actually had 3 sides.
3, yes.
Mhm.
Site B was out on Starlight,
Yes.
as we understand it, had a lot of up and down, and so because of new roads coming through there, but I think as far as elevation is concerned, and a lot of trees, and if they didn't do site A, site C was more acceptable than B, so B was.
And this is not setting anything in stone. This is just us saying, hey, this is our opinion.
Yeah, this
It's
is
not
just,
saying, no, you can't do, we can't tell them they can't do that. You know, we can just say, hey, this is what we prefer.
So at this point, the Bratton Farm though is, they're actually, if I looked at the site, over maps correctly, the actual plant is going down inside where you would not be able to see it from anywhere around there. It's not going set up on a hill, it's gonna sit down in, most people don't know how much land is, if you go up the hill and look back, there's a large amount of land that's inside the hill there. You can't see it.
200 acres.
The meeting that we were in, where they discussed it, they said it was going where the existing pump
pump station.
pump station is, and then down the side of that hill, which would be on the side
You're gonna see.
of the road and all the
From Boat,
houses and.
from Boat
it's-
Dock Road, you could see the pumping station.
Right, it's kind of like the opposite hill from Dr. Sampson's house. Right?
Yes,
It appears,
yes.
Yes.
it appears,
It would
the
make no
solar
sense to put
panels,
solar panels in the valley.
it would appear the solar panels would hardly be visible from the road. There are two,
I don't know where it is.
there are 2 points that you can do it.
You know where you,
Very,
Out there.
very
small,
small.
where you turn off to go to Pine Cove,
And I think,
Right.
we're off to the right.
I think Emory is probably gonna have some meetings where they be more specific about, I think they call it visual points. You know, y'all, in a way, it's kind of like the rock quarry. You know, some people say I like a rock quarry, but I don't want it in my backyard. You know,
That's what I'm saying, what about the people around, lives around TVA up there, they may not,
There's already, the pipeline and the pumping station
Right.
on TVA as well, and, I mean, it
There's already
is,
one here as well.
this one would be, I mean, I get it, I do hear you, I get it, there is one already there, it's like gonna be 3 or 4 times what's already there.
At both places.
I don't know what's out of TVA, I don't know, but TVA also has a giant nuclear plant too, so.
And the prison that stays lit up.
Prison's not TV.
Well, true. But I'm just saying, for
You
visibility.
can only see the prison on foggy nights when the clouds are low.
I see it every night going home, man, we go.
I was gonna say, now, come on now.
But-
That used to be like my home away from home, okay?
Enbridge has proposed this as a site C.
That's what they sent in their
Yes.
documentation to FERC.
and I get crazy with all these 3-letter and 4-letter acronyms, but FERC is the Federal Energy Management Company.
Regulation Committee.
They have to approve the whole 9 yards. And this is to express your preference, saying we'd rather you live in the city today. That's basically what it's saying.
Can I ask
That's
this,
what this is saying, and
can I ask this question? Alright, so the Bratton Farm where it sits, as the growth lies, is it like a quarter mile, half mile from downtown Marshall?
Less than,
Less than. So,
my house sits behind the hospital, and the fence in my backyard starts where the old man. Now, the right-hand side was owned by the sisters, and Mr. Carthage married the Turner.
I know you come and purchase that property. don't you?
He purchased that half, he leases the other half. So that's the whole big farm. So it's up on it's less than 4 miles.
so, I mean, you've got a question of the miles, right? Because they're talking about all the tax dollars that's going to pump into our system, we got money scrapped anyway by putting it there. But if 30 years from now, it takes that. People keep moving here, you've got to have something to do, some routines, and you've got 200 acres that's a quarter mile from the county seat, that you're going to put 80 of it in solar panels. That doesn't seem like the best use of that land. I don't know what the dollars work out to if they use site C. But at least
To
it's
my
down,
understanding. It's not.
at least it's gonna be, I hate to use this analogy, but don't put where you eat. You don't want like a big industrial kind of thing sitting right in, on top of you, Tennessee. That would be my thought.
That's a worthy consideration. Yeah, and we get something from TVA because the TVA pay every year, don't
We can pay them in lieu of taxes.
we? Yeah, that's what it would probably be if it was on TVA.
TVA still owns it. That would be a
Um,
concern in that situation.
East Tennessee, the pipeline that's already there, they do pay property taxes. I checked with Cindy and they pay $125,000 a year. So, there would be reason for Enbridge not to pay.
That is if TVA sells to Enbridge. That's if TVA sells to Enbridge.
Yes.
But again, this letter is expressing opinion of the commission as to preference. That's what it is.
The only other thing that I would ask in reading that resolution is that last whereas it does, talk about that include noisy meeting. Is anybody asking for a guarantee of what that plant will operate at? They haven't got that far.
They haven't gotten that far, but to my understanding from the meeting, it would be the same of what you hear when you're at Columbia Gold. To my understanding, did y'all
I
take
don't
it?
remember that.
I remember like Tammy Dixon and I asking some different things about that, because it is right in our neighborhood. I mean, we're really close to us. So closer to Tammy than it is to me. But we were asking about lighting and we were asking about noise, and they couldn't give me a decibel, but they were pretty much comparing it. We were asking, would it be in comparison to Columbia Gulf, and to our understanding, that is how we transcribed of what they told us that it would be. So if you've ever been to the Michael Cawthorn's house and him out there, you know what it sounds like when it's up and running. Yep.
Just one comment. I won't disagree that the county seat, the place is not perfect. We'll say this, what is Enbridge putting this pumping station in for? We all know.
Gas to go to East Tennessee.
Not to East Tennessee, this is going to a TVA plant in East Tennessee, that'd be great.
It's going to East Tennessee.
It's going to a TVA plant, it's for TVA. So an entity is having this, we're asking an entity to put their pumping station on TVA's property to supply TVA. Why would TVA want to sell it to them when I can get a better deal? Heck, you gotta put it on my property. Now, I'm just gonna say, all right, I've got the upper hand in this place.
Okay.
Let's don't get in, all I'm saying is let's don't get in a situation, I've heard people and my dad as well, that were here during the time when Columbia Gulf tried to put in Travis County. They wanted Columbia Gulf in Travis County. Well, we got Columbia Gulf really close to Travis County, if you notice that today. It sits right across the line. We didn't get it, and we don't get the tax dollars off of it. All I'm saying in my opposition to this piece is I don't disagree that it's not the most opportune piece. But if we as a county continue to try to push everything that tries to come our way out of this county, we'll be sitting here with dried up funds going in the opposite direction. I'm not saying it's perfect. I don't disagree. It's not great. However, I really struggle to see an entity that's building their facility to pump gas for the whole purpose of to TVA, wanting to work with TVA on their property to build the plant. I'll leave it at that.
TVA needs gas. So if we're suggesting they go somewhere else, that's not gonna change their need for the gas.
But you're correct, it could be Smith County that they go to. You're exactly right.
TVA's kind of stayed out of this strangely, because they have bad enough image all the way across the country, so they're just strangely silent. And in my opinion, have not treated our local electrical department very well. They just kind of pass it off. And so they've just stepped back and said, we need to go. And I think that what happened, this is just my personal opinion, I think Emory's probably set up a drone to run this line. When they came up on this line out here, they said, Eureka. Yes,
Here's
it's
where it
right
goes.
side. We've already got a pump station there. We can fulfill this Green New Deal stuff by putting in panels, and it just seemed perfect to them. And that's why they think it's the best option. Not that it's necessarily the best option for our county, but they're probably going to exercise their utility rights but this is simply a letter to say, we would rather you go to the other side. There's no finality to it, it's just offering things that people can. Okay, you wanna go to consulting contract?
You want me to talk about it?
Yeah, we'll talk about it a little.
So David has expressed an interest in combining urban codes and county codes into a county code. And he had hoped that the Codes and Zoning Committee would be able to do that. None of us have time to do that or the knowledge, so he, and you have talked with Rick as well, right?
Yes.
The next resolution. Rick,
Okay.
yes. Rick Gregory, I guess, used to be with GNRC and was the advisor for the planning commission, and now he does, freelance work. And so he's gonna propose to work with the codes and zoning and the planning office to combine the codes into one.
Y'all know Rick?
No.
Yeah,
Very, very honest.
yeah, the folks that run the cleaners, their son, Greg Cleaners. This proposal on the solar zoning that we passed in first reading, he put all that together, didn't charge us anything. And the reason somebody kind of balked at this $11,000 figure, he said it won't take that long, and he's willing to do it for $75 an hour. And we cautioned him that you might want to put off just a safety clause in there to say, it's not going over that. So that's where that figure came from.
But we're not spending new money either.
I
If
saw
you
that.
look down at the
I saw
bottom,
that.
it's already in the budget.
What's our contract right now with GNRC? Would it not cover the same pieces?
GNRC, doesn't, the contract with GNRC only covers 2 meetings, which would be the planning commission and BZA. So they won't come to the codes and zoning meeting and work with us. And they haven't done the strategic planning project, which was for $22,000. That's not been I think it's 2 years old, which is like the grand 20-year plan that they were supposed to come up with. They have not done that.
We're not real happy with GNRC.
We have discussed in the codes and zoning meeting finding someone else. Apparently, David talked with Rick, and there is no one else. There is no other consulting
I was about to say,
firm.
we've looked at that in the past.
Yeah,
So
there is no one
And
else.
some grants come to GNRC.
That's correct.
If you shut them out, you shut yourself out of grant.
That's why they're able to be who they are, it would be.
Yes, but the new contract negotiated only 2 meetings per month, so that is why we couldn't really work with that.
So codes and zoning couldn't meet with the planning on the night of planning and it still count that way?
Because BZA already meets that night and planning commission meets that night. And I mean, I don't know if you paid attention to planning commission meetings, I've been 2
Yeah.
and 3 hours long.
Yeah.
I'm not going to a meeting at 10 o'clock at night, so.
So that's their 2 meetings, is the same day,
BZA and planning commission.
and they come that one night, a month? So if I think the contract comes
2
to 2
meetings.
meetings, no matter what.
Any other questions? 5 to 7, got to talk about the brush truck. Mayor's report's gonna be very short. You wanna talk about the numbers on the brush truck?
I don't want to talk about it, you talk about it.
Okay, the brush truck was ready. Everybody know that? Everybody with me? The insurance company came in and said the preliminary estimate to fix it is $144,000. Okay? They offered to total it for $205,333 with a $500 deductible And I'm not sure what retained salvage means, but we'll move on to the
I
next.
think
item.
retained salvage is if we wanted to purchase it back,
Okay.
if I'm not mistaken, I've seen that.
Their other offer was to just flat out give us $174,000 and have it repaired. Now go back up to your top line. We've been told it could be repaired for $144,800. But they also said once they get into that thing, that figure could go up. So that's not a certain thing. But here's the interesting thing. If they give us the 205, the new one's going to cost 238. Okay? So
And the time frame, right?
well, they think this time they've already got a main chassis coming, and then probably 6 months. But remember, the chassis is red, so the new fire truck will be red, or the other ones are yellow. And if we wanted to match colors, that's another $8,000. So, color means anything to you. It would seem the best option would be take the 174.
Did I understand there's something that where we have to match colors?
No.
No.
It'd be okay to have a
The
red,
fire
go
department
back to
doesn't
a
have
red
to
fire
match.
truck, so that'd be okay.
But we'd still be out $35,000.
On the new one, we're still gonna have to pay $30,000. Now, one other thing you need to know,
But we still might be out.
this
there.
chassis is a 450, 350. The new one is a stronger, heavier chassis, and it's a number 450, so you're getting a bigger ambulance if you, a heavier truck if you go to the new one. But either way, here's what I think it plays out today. The certainty, if you want certainty, is you take the 204 and spend 35 more. The uncertainty is, will the 174 completely cover the 144? If you're getting 30 more thousand than the estimate, but are you willing to take the risk that it'll fall in that 30,000 difference, or it might go above that?
And even if we take that risk, we are buying a total vehicle. Now, might I remind you of this? We bought a total vehicle to save some money on a trash truck, and it ended up burning to the ground in Nashville when it was getting worked on. So we're taking a chance on buying it.
And Jay told me that the frame was damaged to the point that bolts were pulled out of the frame. And so, once they get under there, and all they based that estimate on was forecast. So, you can win, you can lose.
If an insurance company is willing to pay $205,000 to total something in this case, they're knowing that there's a problem. If it's that high of a cost, is what we're looking at here.
They don't want to take the risk.
That's exactly right.
There's
So I
nothing
guess-
in here with engine or transmission.
We don't know what else might come
And I'm
our way.
pretty sure Jay said that the radiator or something was, like it wasn't running now.
Well, I'm not sure, but I know the transfer pipe that goes all the way back, it was damaged, and that would have to be replaced. So, you're almost looking at a
I got to
Pandora's
take
box.
first-hand photos of it, and it was not pretty.
I was a little confused that it says miscellaneous, it's $131,000. That's a large amount of miscellaneous cost. That's like a weird, miscellaneous can go a lot higher really quick.
So do we eventually take this to work? They want an answer by Friday.
I want to answer about that.
The insurance company?
Because they can tell us when they have to have an answer. That doesn't make sense to me.
Well, no, the estimate is good for 30 days, but Amy was telling me somebody wants an answer by Friday. I don't know who that is. I'll find out. We'll make them go off that.
The email that I got was from the insurance lady. She just wanted an answer as soon as possible.
It may be okay.
That she wanted an answer by Friday.
I mean, I would rather go to work session and get a recommendation, or go to finance and get a recommendation to take to court and say, this is what we think.
It's on my agenda to talk about tomorrow night too.
If we tried to save 30, it could end up costing us 60.
And still have a
And I
total
can
vehicle.
still have a total
guarantee you
vehicle.
it will end up
Courthouse,
costing every.
Courthouse.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
let's, I mean, I think, in the past, I don't know the exact piece of this, we don't really have the this body can recommend that it goes to you, and then you send it to budget after you talk about it. And I think I'd like to put a motion in that facet that we have a plan that says it's gonna be sent, this piece is gonna be sent to your agenda tomorrow night, and then if you get to a resolution, it comes to finance by the 21st is our thing.
I think this discussion is good to let finance know what's coming down the pike.
Absolutely.
I think those are the two entities it sounds as if this one needs to move to.
What do you think, Shane?
It's a shame.
There's nothing in here about any engines or transmissions, or any gearboxes or anything else.
I do wanna make one other statement in this.
Those are costly items for a moment.
Even in the full payout of 204, we could still choose to pay the 30,000 to buy back the truck as it says. That's what $30,800, that's what that is, it's to buy the item back. Is there enough equipment on there that makes it worth that $30,000?
That's a great question.
Is it
We really
interchangeable?
need to discuss that,
I will ask that tomorrow night.
because there may be some pieces on there that are well worth us keeping the 30,000. I don't know what the
Well,
pumps
I
are worth.
mean, the upper part
That's what I'm getting at, those pumps, all those
should
pieces may be.
be still good and intact.
I
And
do,
I mean, from,
I do think he said the equipment and stuff like that, that is not,
That's why I'm saying
right, it's fine.
that $30,800
Am I
is
right, Mayor?
the you buy it back fee. We can still buy it back and get the 174. Now it's gonna cost us 60,000 to buy the new truck, or 68, what we're talking about in this case.
But how much can we recoup of that?
That's what I'm getting at.
Even if we, as a county, don't need it, can we put it on gov deals or whatever and recoup
This is brand new equipment.
how much of that?
Absolutely.
It's brand new equipment, so it may be
First round.
very well worth our move there to see what that is available to us.
I'll let you discuss that with fire people.
so Mr. Gully, did you make a motion to send this to emergency services and to
I
finance?
did.
So,
Got a motion second. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Did you
I'll say
want
I did wanna add that piece to it, but I'll go without on that. That we have that discussion on, do we buy the other back?
Absolutely, I have it right here that we will,
I was just making sure that, I'd like to have that in the motion.
yes.
So she's gonna send it to finance and we reckon, send it to the whole court.
That's correct.
For work
So
session.
you need to let Amy know, I guess, that it's not gonna have a decision by Friday.
Look at that.
So,
I don't think we
look
can.
at
No.
the
We can't spend
UP
$60,000
No,
and
no.
yeah, you can't.
No, we're looking at the we take and then the auxiliary.
that's correct. Like the $174,000, $33. In other words, we're paying the $30,800 to keep the vehicle as it sits, total.
Well, in your experience, I'm sure you've repoed a vehicle before. So your experience, can you take the payout and then turn around and buy it back? And put it back? Would it be sold like an auction or something?
That's what they're
So
all.
that's just the price they say they're gonna take to get rid of it. Well, that's a lot of machinery for $30,000.
That's what I was getting at. Been through that.
Only difference will be that 350 model and the 450 model, if all that's, a lot of that stuff's special, they're not here.
It would have a rebuild time. Never have it.
But we could strip it and get all the stuff we want off of it and then sell it.
It would be salvaged out of that.
Right, it would be sold with a salvage.
Any other discussion? Any other
I
discussion?
don't even know what scrap is.
No one got
What's
that
not
public comment?
scrap?
Anything other than the mayor's report, y'all got any questions of the mayor? What's going on? A lot of things in the hopper.
You got budget fixing on here.
Got this.
Yeah, I was thinking that
Sorry. Yeah, I missed.
the budget season, so what is,
Well, let's talk about that.
we're headed close to March, April, time to start really discussing.
I'm just start getting
Favorite
the
time of the
budget.
year, bro.
So Wesley said we're in pretty good shape, is that right, currently?
His current pieces were, our budget was in pretty good shape.
We got 104,000 of ARP money, only $1.4 million.
We found $1.6 million. It's a little over $1.6 million. There was actually in that last one, and that's gonna come out in the next budget finance piece that you'll see in your packet as well. There was, in the courthouse payment, out of the ARPA funds, 500 and something thousand is all was paid out of it of the 900,000. There was some left over in the first ESSER monies, not ESSER's, what were those called? They weren't ARPA, it was the first initial COVID pieces, and that's why we paid that out of there. That's the reason we have the fresh air system that we're putting in. It had to pay that, use that money towards it. We had to put in the fresh air system in the courthouse, so that was part of that funding. In other words, that 1.3 some change is actually now a little over 300 some change thousand above that.
And
Do
so,
we make that lighter for you?
and so that money is not earmarked now, even in having the categories to spend. Okay.
Can I interrupt budget talks and ask how the courthouse is, if you've heard anything, if anything is going with that?
I haven't been back in there. I don't know if
It's
Cliff
awful, y'all.
Brothers got back up or not, but they tell us, the train people say they'll fix it.
It's gonna come up Public Works Thursday night.
Oh, is it?
Well, that's part of buildings.
And I'll have Cliff ready to get some answers. He did probably save the county $9,500 moving the bail. The last bid was $10,000. And they got the concrete poured and the bricks didn't come apart, so he should have that set with the bail back up. And so Cliff, I'll tell you, Cliff is very conscientious about saving the county. He saved
He
us,
always has.
he saved us
He's always-
$9,500 on that deal.
You know,
That's fantastic.
He does a lot of work on his own mechanics stuff.
he saves this county a whole lot of money.
Yes, sir.
I keep telling him, try to find a guy underneath him to,
Absolutely.
and he just, he'll be out there putting a radiator.
Yeah.
Cause he'll say, it's gonna cost $1,500. I was changing the tire, this was but I'd love to give him some help. He has moved, by the way, from the county office over to the old health department building.
I saw some trucks there, I didn't know about that.
He's working, he's not here.
No, the old health department building, and that's gonna free us up for some office space. We've hired a new HR person.
Okay.
After, it's gonna interview 6 or 8 people.
When did that take place, that he just moving?
I just walked in yesterday and they said he moved today.
Over by the Little League fields, the old health department building there.
Yeah.
Who else is in that building?
No one,
Just,
and he's gonna use it for storage, and I think maybe that was moving forward to the last layer, I'm not sure. He discussed it with us. The other thing was,
who's it, you gonna tell us who you hired, is it?
Oh. her name is Giselle Scott, and she and her husband are building a house in Kelly Lane, out in the Providence community. She's really, really sharp.
She's hired as our one.
HR.
Okay.
She's really nice.
I should have brought that
Okay.
up under personnel. She was actually added to the agenda late and introduced to the personnel.
Is she
Very nice.
work in government or a few, or
She's worked in about everything. She's worked for county government in California. Her husband ran a barbecue restaurant for about 20 years, and she managed about 50 people in HR. Bilingual. Really a go-getter. She'll be a great asset.
Is it right across from Miss Kathy Dodd?
that's Kelly Lane right there.
Yeah, it's Kelly Lane, but I think they're building,
Yeah,
Run
I
across
think
or
the-
to
maybe the
angle.
first lot on the left, there's about 7 new houses going in there. They don't think they don't want that lot. Gazelle.
Before you get to Queen
Giselle. I
Elizabeth.
keep wanting to call her Gazelle. It's Giselle.
Scott, right?
And Vicky is coming over after hours, several days, well, not days, but she puts in 12, 16 hours a week to help her move into that. It's gonna take a big load off of Amy. Amy found out that she's going to have to do more administration with the health department remodel. The state gives you that money and then they say, here, you manage it, so. Giselle will take a lot of pressure off her. That's good.
It looks like that building is getting started. I noticed they've done some surveying out by the health department already, so they're at least getting tracked off, staked off. Surveying is taking place.
I think I signed up on something today where we're sending some money to go ahead and get started.
Has that been completed where the highway department was gonna give X amount? Has that been signed over and done?
hadn't been done yet, but it's in the works.
No, they were giving a little portion of land off the house track there off Highway Farms.
We'll put an extra room in the back or something. I did ask the highway department for some urban development money to go ahead and get the parking lot sealed at the senior center and the parking lot back here, which Cliff says we're gonna lose some parking lots if we don't get them sealed. And Mr. Scruggs was agreeing with that, so. We'll try to get that in.
That include the one where the gazebo's at in town as well.
Where?
The gazebo's at in town.
Not at this point, we'll try to get to that. And, we're just gonna stripe the lot beside the hotel and tower that the county owns. So when spring comes and Mr. Scruggs gets his paper going, but all the vehicles are not. Even they've taken the ones off the street. As Commissioner Presley informed me today, and I got credit for it. I didn't.
They're gone, we'll take you.
Here's something else that's on my mind. Someone asked me to move a car up on Morrison Street. And the car got moved, and I can't say yea or nay whether I did it, but it got done. And while I was up there driving around, you know how many properties up there need to be?
Lots.
Where people have just moved away and doors are left open and the houses are gone. And we need to find some creative way to find out what the situation is. And it would open up a lot of living lots.
Whose responsibility is it?
Codes and zoning to condemn them.
That's what I was thinking.
But
Codes and
I'm
zoning to
gonna-
notice that they need to be condemned?
It would be code and zoning to look at those properties. Actually, when we first were doing code and zoning, they would get people out riding around and saying, hey, this one's a property we need to look at.
Well, we're gonna,
John Oliver was good at that originally on code and zoning.
I have a volunteer who's lived up there, who is willing to ride with me one day and just point out to me every property who owns it, get the numbers, get with our iPods, and start somewhere. The challenge would be asbestos shingles. You can't just go in, you know, I don't have for fire department, you can't do it,
Not anymore.
But someone who'd be interested in those lots to build houses on, might be willing to have the shingles like they're supposed to be. We'll see, but first we gotta get a number of houses found property, but it's a bunch of them. And that whole community could be brought back over time.
Speaking of properties, do we have a new resale of land committee?
Should that come under codes and zoning? You mean what property we have now?
It was a separate
It was
committee, but I don't know.
Totally
where we-
separate
We
before.
still got that committee, I guess, but some of them was not in the local committee.
Let's say you got Harsh that was gone,
And
Miss
Ferguson.
Linda,
Yeah, all them real estate
Ferguson.
agents,
and Gary Flaherty.
yeah, all
But
of
that
them.
was
So
actually
all-
not a commission.
Right, it was just a committee that the mayor,
Yeah, it's a working
Step.
committee.
it was just appointed.
Okay, I'll look into that. I'll look into it.
When are we looking at a new tax sale or is anybody coming up? Who shut his off?
I don't know how many properties we even have right now. Do you know?
Everyone's looking into county property.
But that's what that committee was more or less says, when tax sale, let this committee, set a price, it's gotta go on money, no.
A minimum bid.
Yeah, minimum bid, yeah.
Mhm.
The sheriff tells me
There's
that
probably
there's a lot of equipment that was given to the county that's in a warehouse out at TVA. But the sheriff, he's one to get that stuff sold. Humvees and
Do you know about it?
Warehouse. Full.
Humvees and
Yeah, that's what I was saying, I don't
Alligators.
understand it.
gators and
Generators and,
generators.
Is that where we got from?
it's like Army surplus or
It's
something?
surplus from TVA and from Kenny Linable, and that's as far back as I can think that they've discussed been there.
it was given through maybe EMS grant, but the sheriff controls it. And, he said he's just gonna help.
Never been used, just sitting in a warehouse.
But it was surplus property when they got it,
Right.
so it was
Yeah.
probably
It's
worn out
all-
to begin
I'm gonna
with.
say,
Yeah.
So it,
But he's just gonna
I
have
mean, we're not
an
paying to
online
have it
auction.
stored, right?
no,
He said just have an online auction, said it will bring back, but at least we get it.
Who knows what's in there?
I know what's in there.
Anything else, y'all?
I can't bid on it, but.
Good meeting. Good meeting, informative. I appreciate all the work y'all do. I can't tell the people, as I told you before. We got enough intelligent people in this county to do the right thing. All these other counties figure it out, we'll figure it out. Appreciate your service. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Second. Motion not debatable.